got 10 seconds remaining. Looks like it's going to be a draw. Looks like it's heading for a draw. Maguire down the line. Noah. Oh! Ryan Hall scores for Leeds and wins the league leading
Hi, folks, and welcome to the Lot Pod. Strap yourselves in. It's now time for another match review panel. Hi, folks, and welcome.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Lot Pod, the Leeds Rhinos Lot 17A podcast, kindly brought to you by ACD&B, who are a creative and branding design agency based in Farsley, Leeds. They create standout brands. So if any companies out there need a new brand or a brand refresh, just get in touch with ACD&B. I'm starting to feel, first of all, thanks a lot for ACD&B for sponsoring us. I'm almost to the point now with that little script that I think I can just say that off the top of my head, which I feel is quite a feat. Speaking of ACD&B, this is the new Lot 17A fanzine.
Look at that.
It launched today as we speak, which is Saturday, the 10th of September. It's available online. If you are watching this live on YouTube or you're watching this or listening to it after, it might not be available. There's 11, as I say this at 8 o'clock, let's say, on Sunday, there's 11 of these left. There'll be none more. So go. The details to buy it are on Twitter. The Lot Pod, Lot 17A. They are £6, but it does include postage. So if you think we were going to sell it for £3 in person, we put £1 on it because we've had a couple of costs to host it on the website and postage and things. So I think for £6, it is a bargain. One of our guests today has wrote an article. One of our regulars, he's wrote a great article inside. So thanks to everybody that's bought it already. Thanks everyone that contributed to it. Yeah, it's been brilliant. The response has been fantastic. We didn't have Danny Maguire on this week, obviously. Something else happened. We are working on getting Danny for next week. There'll be no Rugby League Roundup podcast this week because there's only 2 games. So we're just going to add that into the start of the mailbag. On the mailbag podcast, Brian from Six Again is joining us. Brian's been a big fan of this podcast, a big supporter of this podcast, a big supporter on Twitter. And Brian is part of Rugby League Shirt Day with the gentleman at the Loose Forward podcast. So we've invited Brian to come on, tell us all about Rugby League Shirt Day on 23rd of September, Friday the 23rd of September. And he's also going to stick around and do the mailbag with us, so we'll get his answers as well. That's that. That's the housework done. This is the match review panel for the absolutely outstanding game of Catalan Dragons versus Leeds in the quarterfinal, let's call it, playoff. Joining me as always is Statman Reese. Do we have the jingle?
I'm a stat man.
Freeze.
Of course we do. Best jingle ever, if you ask me. Statman Reese, how are you?
I'm awesome.
Buzzing.
Just buzzing still after last night. I also collected, for those that are not on thing, I won a signed Leeds Rhinos.
You did? That's right, yeah.
2022 jersey. That's the wrong way around, Reese. And I picked it up this morning. So I'm loving life with that. So it's been a great weekend. So
awesome
far.
weekend.
And it's still only Saturday night.
Still on a Saturday night. Who have we got on today, mate? Who's joining us for this one?
We have Duncan, Duncan was demanding to be on this podcast.
Sorry, yes, that's right. Who grabbed us by the scruff of the neck and said, I need to fucking shout about Sam Tompkins.
So we've got Duncan, who was adamant of joining us, and we've also got Cameron as well, so I shall bring them in now. Evening, gents, how are you?
Hey, right.
Well, What do we do?
I just took a heroic swig then, just like in celebration.
So I'm going to take Lottie's line whilst he's swigging his Ribena. Positives, gents. Duncan, I'll let you go first because I know you've got loads to say about last night.
Yeah, I think the obvious one would be to say 1-17 were absolutely superb.
They were. And sorry, Duncan.
No, you're right.
Just one sentence to nip in. You're absolutely right. They were absolutely outstanding. 1-17, and I can't quite remember a time when I felt more prouder than the whole squad to say that was just an outstanding performance.
Yeah. But strangely enough, my positives were more around the discipline. It'd have been very easy last night to us to have a player sim been sent off. I think earlier in the season it would have happened, but I think it seems to be more of a maturity now amongst the team. I also absolutely loved the celebrations at the end. Jared O'Connor has just gone up to legendary status in this house because the way he just stood in front of them Catalan fans with beer raining down, just saying "come on" then was just absolutely superb.
There is a photo, isn't there? I think it was I'm not sure if it was from the Yorkshire Evening Post or from whoever. There's quite a lot of the players like this clapping the Leeds Rhinos fans, and just in the corner of the picture, you can see Jared with his arms like this, bringing it on like that.
Well, I actually I tweeted ZB Creative and said, like, I'll pay any money for if he can get a print together with Jared giving it the big one to the Catalan fans. Like, I want that print.
That's literally printing money, Zach. You have to make that. You know, you're gonna.
No, he said he's gonna do it.
He'll do it. He's usually really quick with it as well. Cameron, positives from this one. There's absolutely loads.
Yeah, I think something that sticks out to me is development of players. You know, we've spoken about Jared O'Connor there in a very different light. But at the start of this season, if you'd have told me we were going to go to Catalans and he'd be the starting hooker, I'd be like, well, in the playoffs, I'd be like, yeah, well, we've lost that. And that's no slight against Jared O'Connor. I just didn't think you were a hooker, and he's probably just not at that level yet. But I think if a player sums up exactly the impact that Rowan Smith has had at Headingley, it's probably Jared O'Connor, because the guy is just perfect. He's not like a special. He's just.
You can say he's perfect. It's fine.
He's perfect in every sort of way.
Perfect in every way.
He's been on this podcast, and therefore he is perfect.
He just nails everything. I mean, apparently they call him Velcro because he don't come off tackles, but also his nuance around the ball in terms of, you know, running, tying up markers, passing, you know, timing his passes. It's like he's played hooker for 10 years.
Yeah.
But also some of the older blokes as well, you know, Zayn Tetavano, Matt Pryor playing a lot better than they were earlier in this season. I think Rowan Smith needs to take credit for that. But speaking of sort of Jared and Rowan Smith, I think as well, I can't remember a time when a coach has made such a bold tactical decision to drop his captain to the bench, drop one of his best attacking players in the last few weeks in Brad Dwyer completely, and start Jared O'Connor at 9 instead. And it worked so wonderfully. But also when I saw that team, a lot of other times I'd have panicked. But I just trust the process.
Yeah.
Like that. And it was absolutely the right call. And if I could, obviously we can't because Morgan Gannon's got HIA. But if I could, I'd just pick that team again, pretty much, apart from maybe Newman coming back in next week, because it was such the right team for a playoff game. He absolutely nailed it, did Rowan there.
He did. Duncan kind of touched on the discipline there, Reese, in that, you know, we just kind of got in Catalan's faces, they got in ours, but they were reacting to whatever was happening on the pitch, and we just kind of were like standing back, taking a. Do you think, obviously, even when Rowan started, Reese, there was still little leaks of the old discipline routine under Agar and kind of leaking in. But in particular, these Catalan games, they are tough out there. They are a really, really grubby side. Do you think Rohan has took it from the previous 2 games we had out in Catalan and kind of known and learnt from it and said, right, and kind of come up with the complete game plan when it mattered to execute to beat these?
I mean, tactically, it was to an absolute T.
I thought it was an absolute coaching masterclass.
And I think Cameron hit the nail on the head. Dropping your captain, I know he's come back from injury, but he's been starting. Yeah. Dropping your captain is never a small call to make. And tactically, I think he got it to an absolute T. But we've also got to remember, he's now experienced going over to France 3 times. Once for Toulouse and twice for Catalans. So he knows what to expect. He knew what the routine was. Arguably, you could say he's perfected it. So I do think he's genuinely learned from it and produced a match plan when it mattered most that would work best. But it kind of follows on from what Duncan was saying, that the likes of Bentley, earlier on in the season, you'd have guaranteed Bentley would have got a yellow, if not a red, in that game. And arguably probably Pryor or Tetivano. In fact, Pryor did get a red in the season. The fact that team kept that discipline in a really grubby side, in a really grubby game from the start. So I know Catalan will moan about whatever happened in the second half, but Mitchell Pearce deserved his yellow for running into Bentley from 20 metres and charging into him. That's a yellow all day. Regardless, Dylan Napa should have been off the pitch before that as well. So they were grubby from the start. Arguably twice, yeah. But to keep your discipline to an extent that Catalan beat themselves, is the highest of quality of that game. I think that's why we won that game. But yes, we scored the tries. The tactically it was brilliant, but we kept our discipline to the extent that Catalan defeated themselves.
I almost think that I've kind of convinced myself, to be honest, that Rowan has said that to the players, Duncan, in that kind of these we're now grubby they are and how awful they are, but if we keep calm, like Reece says there, they'll annoy themselves and they'll blow up themselves. And there was, as the game was slowly closing down, and quite obvious we were going to win, which it was from the start, if you ask me. But in those closing moments, Duncan, I don't know about you, but as I was stood there watching with my friends, we all kind of agreed that there will be a Catalan player sent off here. Did you feel similar?
Yeah. Do you know what? I will strangely say credit to James Child, because he tried to keep it 13 on 13 for as long as he could.
He had a lot of... He pulled the captains in a lot of times, didn't he? And kind of said, look,
until his arm was completely twisted, he was trying to make it. And I saw a few people tweeting, I can't remember who it was, I think it was some rival fans. I'll tell you, it was that Whopper Maverick. He was saying about how he felt it was a really poor playoff game. To me, it was just playoff rugby.
I felt that way,
And I felt, picking up on what Cameron said about picking the same side, I felt Rowan Smith completely outdid McNamara, because I guarantee their game plan, part of their game plan will have been how to stop Brad Dwyer. They will have worked on how to slow the game down to stop Brad. And as soon as he's not in the squad, it's a bit like, oh, right, why have they not picked him? Why have they picked Jared O'Connor? And I think he just he did him in team selection. I think, to me, the guy's just gone up to, he's changed, it's his little subtleties every week that he's changing in his team selections, and you can guarantee on Twitter that people will say, why has he picked him? Why has he done this? Why has he done that? He is thinking, and he's got a real good thought process with who he's going in his team each week.
Yeah.
And I just think he completely outdid McNamara. And it's something that the pundits should pick up on Sky, because if someone like Christian Wolf had done that, they'd have been waxing lyrical about how good he is.
They don't see it, they're blind. They don't see it. They haven't quite converted yet, my friend, but there is time, everybody. There is still time. Let him in. Just let him in.
I'm just really laughing because throughout Duncan's speech there, Lotte, you're just smiling from ear to ear, literally. Yeah, like you just beaming. You're listening to Duncan's doing this beautiful oratory, and you're just there, just smiling from ear to ear like this, going, "Oh, it's great! This, I love it."
No, yeah, I'm beaming, but the way Duncan were like talking about Rowan were making me beam, and I kind of wanted him to say, "It's just like a god." Oh, he's bought into it. Peace be with you. Cameron, did you feel the same in terms of Catalan discipline as the game were closing on and it looked like it was going to be a Leeds victory? Because me and my friends were adamant that there were definitely going to be a red card from a Catalan player.
I wasn't really surprised when it happened. I'm in agreement that there could have been there could have been other cards earlier in the game, not maybe reds, but certainly other yellows.
Yeah.
But I agree. Duncan mentioned it there. I've seen a few people say that it wasn't a good game, and I've seen a few people call out James Child, and I just don't get that narrative whatsoever. No, it might not have been a spectacle to watch, but neither side gave each other an inch where they could help it. It was a fast game in a weird way. Like obviously there's a lot of stoppages and there wasn't a lot of breakaway rugby, but it was just set after set after set. It was the proper grind. There was not that many mistakes. It wasn't like that Cass game. It was a physical affair. So I don't. It was what you want to see in playoff rugby. For mine is that determination, that absolute commitment to the cause.
Yeah.
And I thought Child refed what was a really difficult situation really well. So I just don't get that narrative. I think what I also want to give credit to is we talk a lot about Rowan Smith's tactical master plan, and it was absolutely perfect. But the players still had to execute that. A week ago, they totally dropped the ball in terms of.
They were awful, diabolical.
Yeah. They definitely didn't execute whatever the tactical plan was against Castleford for 70 minutes. They overplayed. They pushed it too much. So they
unless that was the tactic.
Maybe it was.
Unless Rome was like, we've got a big crowd in, let's really turn it into a nail biter. And then the last, 7 minutes, we'll play proper. Give them the big win.
Well, I think that was an important learning experience. I said it at the time. A lot of people panicking because it wasn't a very good performance. But it's like, in a lot of ways, it's maybe the performance you need because you get that bad performance sort of out of the way, because it was the total opposite. We played direct. We didn't push the pass. Even in those first 20 minutes when we were knocking on the door, but the try won't come in, we weren't panicking. It was just like, John Wells said it, it's credit in the bank. It was tiring.
Jesus Christ, we're doing something right. John Wells praising us.
But it was that, there was a patience to the performance and obviously patience in the discipline as well. So I think the players need a lot of credit for the way they approached the game plan and everything. They just did exactly what needed to happen. And if they do that again next week against Wigan, look, I'm not going to say we're going to win.
I am.
But it cannot do you any harm. Rowan Smith's a brilliant tactician. So if you just execute the plan that he brings, you're going to give yourself a massive chance of beating anyone.
Did you feel the same, Reece, in that as the game was progressing, and obviously we didn't, as long as it were 0-0, and we kind of the way we were playing, because I felt like, I agree with Cameron, I felt like the stuff we were playing and trying, I thought there's tries in this game for us. And then even when Catalan went 4 up, and it's me anyway, but I still felt like we were going to win this game. There wasn't really, I know my delusion, I know we're going to win every game, but even some of my friends were like, I just don't think we're going to lose this. Did you feel similar?
In the build-up to the game, I said, as long as we were going to try, we'll win that game. Yeah. If we were going to try within 10 minutes, we'd win it. I was confident of that. And part of that tactician, and a commentary highlighted it at one point, there was one set where we made Cassiano tackle 4 out of the 5 tackles. They ran at him every single time to make him tired. And I remember when he came off, I think it was 50 minutes, he was absolutely blowing.
I was so happy that, sorry to nip in again, that the cameras caught that.
Yeah, they were
knackered, weren't they? He was in agony.
Absolutely blowing. And I mean, there's a couple of things I want to pick up from Cameron said and Duncan said. It was a great game. And what picturates why it was a good game for me, because it was a good contest, physical contest, was Mick when he was talking to the referee. And I can't remember what he said, but it was something like, well, they're giving it a go. We want to give it a go. It's a contest. Or something like that. What did he say, Duncan?
He said they're doing it tough, and we want to do it tough. Just let us go at each other.
Yeah, and that it's a game of rugby. As long and to be fair, Catalan have always sometimes blurred that line, but always will play up to that line, and that's why they've been a good team in the last couple of years. The one thing I thought Childs could have done is what the referee did today in the Salford Huddersfield game at one point, which is when he brought the captains together, was make the threat of, if I hear any more back talk to me again, that's the other.
Especially from Mickey Mack and Mitchell Pearce.
He didn't do that. I mean, when he got Mitchell Pearce done on the 70th minute, they'd lost their heads at that point. I do think that if he'd have done that earlier in the game, because I did feel that he was losing a bit of control, and I think he regained it a bit in the second, but not much. But I didn't really he did referee a very difficult game well. But I think if he'd have done in the first half and said, look, enough's enough. If I hear this again, you're off. Simple. I thought he might have changed a couple of things. But I forgot the original question now, Lottie.
It's fine. No matter, I forgot it. I forgot it. But no matter what it was a point very well explained. Yeah, that's why we pay you $55,000 a year to appear on this podcast as our stats man. Do we have any stats for this one, Reese?
We do. I haven't done.
Hang on, let me get my pen.
Sorry. I haven't done a full analysis, but I can give you a good lowdown. It will come as no surprise.
That's usually off screen. Giving me.
I can give you. In fact, I'll let you guess. Oh, I know I've already told Duncan this. I can let you guess who led the tackle count. It probably won't come as a shock to anyone. Oh, hang on, Cameron, you said Bentley?
Yeah,
it was O'Connor.
Was it?
Yeah,
it was. I just went Bentley because it's always Bentley. So
it's normal. When O'Connor starts and plays the majority of the game, it is a bit of a contest between Bentley and O'Connor.
There you go, then.
O'Connor got 44 tackles, which we were saying off air before he came on. That didn't feel like enough compared to how much he was putting himself around.
No, it's one of those where, because we kept commenting on it as everyone watching was like, Jesus Christ, Jared O'Connor is having the game of his life.
Yeah.
You're welcome back on any time, Jared. So, and in terms of his defence as well, it was everywhere. And it was one of those cliches where if you'd have said to me, how many tackles do you think Jared made? I probably would have said over 60.
I would have put 60.
Yeah.
I'd have said between 60 and 65. So the fact that it's come out at 44 is... Yeah.
But Bentley was second. Bentley had 39 tackles. We had a number of players over 100 metres. Zach got 135.
I thought he played well.
Yeah. Blake got 126.
Sorry.
Who I feel like he carried more than he passed last night, Blake. After me, he played more than 13 than Cam was playing 13 in a weird way. Pryor got 104. That's the first time for quite a while that Pryor's hit over 100.
That's the first time since 2012.
It won't come as a shock that Liam Sutcliffe got 162.
He was phenomenal last night.
He was. Richie Myler, 134. Another player that was phenomenal last night.
Yeah.
So they're the sort of the big meters in the tackles wise. I'm just trying to see if there's anything else that's glaringly obvious to me. Not really at the moment. Tackle bus wise, Zach again had eight tackle bus last night. Did Zach?
Played well.
Blake 4, Caesar 3, Bentley 5, Sutcliffe 7, Cameron Smith 7. JB Donaldson got 27 tackles, by the way.
Not bad for a sub.
He wasn't that on the pitch that long.
Yeah.
And I do remember him making one incredible tackle at one point on the line.
It was a try-saving tackle, that wasn't it?
It was a try-saving. And speaking of another try-saving tackle, on the 17th minute, number 17, our Lord and other Saviour, the Cameron Smith Appreciation Society member, originator, person, he made an incredible
CEO?
tackle. I don't know. A person of interest. He made...
Managing director?
That's me. He made a great tackle as well. So yeah, they're the stats that jump out to me at the moment in time. But I don't think that tells the whole story, because Zayn apparently made 25 tackles and got 86 meters. He did get 9 meters per carry, but I thought Zayn's impact was much bigger than those stats.
Yeah.
He was the anti-Sam Cassiana, and it worked.
Yeah.
That was so I'm going to make this comment now before Duncan gets in here and says this, because he did say it on the podcast last week that we had to bring Tetivano on whenever Cassiano was on
to match him up, yeah.
And Rowan actually did do that. So Duncan's got quite a few heads up his own arse at the moment. Yeah,
this is why,
that's why he's not on camera.
That's why he's not on camera, Cam.
There you go.
It's really Rowan Smith.
I think something that, those stats I think really portrays is, and we mentioned it with saying Austin ran more than he passed, is there is a real directness when we're not playing stupid buggers like we did against Castle week. There is a real directness to the way that we play, and I think that's important in modern rugby league. Aiden Caesar and Austin both willing to take on the line. They're both not shy of getting tackled because they know they're sure dummy. They make a half break, quick play the ball, and you go again. It's that speed, it's that repetition. And I think we must, under Rowan Smith, be one of the best teams in the league for tackle busts.
I thought you were going to say the world, because I would have agreed with that as well.
Best team in the world, anyway. But in terms of tackle busts, that ability to just bounce off a tackle and just keep defenders working, overworking defenders is a really important asset. And it just makes for good rugby as well. When Zach gets the ball and he starts jinking out of tackles. And obviously, Harry Newman's probably the best at it, maybe in the world.
Probably in the world. Cameron, yeah, that's another one.
Coming back on the inside, bouncing off men, that real explosivity. Yeah. So I think that's something that we need to really try to maintain, not just for the rest of the season, but obviously next year it needs to become a real facet of our performance.
How we play. Something we haven't spoken about yet, Duncan. The Aiden Caesar try. You heard Cameron's gasp then?
It's funny enough, I've just messaged on the chat to Andrew saying, don't worry, we're going to talk about French TV soon.
Well, that's now.
That was good, that was good.
That's now, Andrew, in the live chat. I was watching it in a pub that had karaoke on, so we couldn't. Always quite thankful to not hear if it's Phil Clark or John Wells on commentary. But we couldn't hear anything, so we couldn't hear the discussion from the video ref. I've seen a couple of little bits from Twitter and friends who watched it with commentary. The Caesar try, Duncan, was that a try for you?
Of course it was.
Of course it was a try.
Of course it was. It wasn't even... How it even got sent up as no try.
That's what.
And then what did
it get sent up as no try?
Yeah, that's what baffles me.
That's the biggest mistake right there. I didn't know that.
So yeah, no, it went up as no try, and then Thaler had the angle that he wanted, and the French
angle number 6, Duncan. Angle number 6.
Yeah,
I can remember the bloody number he was after.
And
he said angle number 6.
He wanted that angle.
In his room. Give the man angle number 6 for Christ's sake.
But they gave him it. Sorry, Duncan, my rage is
you're all right.
Sometimes it happens. Sometimes
they gave him the angle and showed it in quick, and then they never gave him that angle back.
No,
that angle showed in it from the post, so you could clearly see if it was off Tonkin's leg or not, if it was on the ground or not. And if it did hit the ground, I'm fine with that, because you've looked at all the angles. But they didn't even use the best angle. But the problem was Thaler got that pissed off that he just went with the angle that he was given.
Well, Thaler don't give a shit when it comes to Leeds. Anyway, he's a Bradford fan.
But there was other points during the game, though, Duncan, wasn't there? There was one where I can't remember which one it was for, where he was. I think it was for a sin binning offence, I think, potentially. And he was literally, you could hear him saying to the referee, "They're not giving me the ankle. I can't get the angle that I need."
Yeah. It really wound me up. That really wound me up, because
the funniest one were when they couldn't check Sutty was onside.
Yeah, but it swung back around. I did put a tweet. I go, "Oh yeah, I love French TV," because it swung completely back around.
Yeah, great.
Their
incompetence is amazing.
Ben Fair's going, angle number 1, please. No, angle number 2, please. No, can't say anything. Angle number 3, please. No, he went to number 7. I think I can't remember what he got to, but they didn't even see Sutcliffe at any point.
No.
Like,
on the double
shocking.
movement. Oh, sorry, Reece. On the double movement, you said you'd been fine if he'd have shown you the angle. To me, even if the angle had shown his ball carrying arm hit the ground, I still wouldn't have been happy with a no try. Because to me,
the rule,
it's all
momentum wasn't stopped.
It is the rule. I think the rule needs changing.
Ridiculous, though.
Yeah, I do. I think that's the bigger issue there, Reece. Yeah.
I don't understand why you're not allowed to place the ball.
No, it's ridiculous.
Because, you said, go on, Duncan.
Sorry, no, I was just going to say, I just...
We're very polite tonight, aren't we? I like it.
Really amateurish. How can you have a situation where you're talking about potentially that try could have cost the team progressing, but thankfully we're just better than that grubby set of dickheads, so we beat them comfortably.
What were you saying about polite?
Oh, honestly, that game last night.
I meant to each other, in the introduction. I do apologise. Can I just interrupt? Carry on, Duncan. I've done it again.
No, yeah, it's just... Oh, I mean, Tompkins and Mickey Mack, and I really hope Sean Wayne does not pick them in his England team.
Duncan. Sean Wayne is definitely going to pick them in his England team.
But the worst thing is that's what Sean Wayne wants.
Yeah, he wants them.
And you just think to yourself, like, McIlaurin won't even get in our reserve team because he's not better than Corey Johnson.
He won't get in any Leeds Rhinos team.
No.
And wheelchair, none.
I won't even have him doing oranges. I'd have him cleaning bogs, but I'd make him use his tongue.
There was points in that game. I can't remember when.
That's the clip that's going on Twitter and TikTok. That bit there.
There was a point where it was a tackle, two tackles before McIlaurin got sin bin for the high shot on Bentley. And there was a point, I can't remember what it was, but for no reason, McIlaurin and Tompkins have started picking a fight with Bentley.
Yeah.
For absolute no reason at all. And I just didn't, they were that riled in themselves. I just don't get it. But they didn't offer anything. I mean, Tompkins, he dropped a high ball at one point, didn't he?
That was fun.
Me and my stepson were watching it, and I turned around to him and I said, it's almost as if they're like petulant kids, and they're like, he can't do that to me. Like the playground bullies that'll go around hitting everyone and all that lot. But as soon as someone does it back to them, they're like, you can't do that. You can't do that. And like Rowan Smith said after the game, it wasn't just a stoppage for like 30 seconds, which a stoppage for 30 seconds should have been 30 seconds, feed the scrum. He was constantly having to send 4 or 5 players away. At one point, I said, it's not football, just get your yellow card out and send them all to the sin bin.
That's what Charles was missing. He should have done that. Whilst we're talking about Tompkins, I'm going to just share my screen for 2 seconds and the audio on this, because I think this is worth watching. Because this is really worth watching, is this?
Yeah, but it means the game's a bit more free-flowing and we're getting further away from the rolling around like footballers. I'm not sure we do it quite as much as footballers, John, but...
For those that are not watching, this is a video of Tompkins going diving after only on... What day was it?
When did Martin get banned? Monday. So that was Tuesday, wasn't it?
Yeah. Only 3-4 days ago, him talking about diving and they're not footballers, and he goes and does it himself.
It's got some goal anyway, because was it the game 2 rounds ago? He caught someone himself. He caught someone clean with his shoulder, didn't he? Didn't get a ban for that.
He didn't catch someone. He full on shoulder charged someone completely off the ball.
I got nothing for that, and I thought there he is, sat on Sky, saying, "Oh yeah, I think that's definitely a ban for Reece Martin." And then, I don't think we're all around like footballers. And then as soon as Matt Pryor won it, stood up from play, it fell down. What did you make of Tompkins in that game, Cameron? I mean, he's a grub, but
it's been a tough season for him, hasn't it? His performances have not been the standard that he set for himself last year, where he was the best player in the league last year. this year, if you look, you just got to look at his stats. You know, last year he was something like 20, 24 assists. This year it's not nearly as many. I mean, obviously he's had his injuries, so I feel like the whole performance from Catalan last night was symptomatic of a season of frustration.
Jesus, did you hear that word? Wow.
Symptomatic. You know, last year was their ascension, wasn't it? You know, it was
ascension. I feel like it's one up in every time.
Cameron, will you have some beer, please, mate? Like I can't keep up with this.
Sorry.
No, Cameron's drunk. That's why he's talking like this.
You know, they reached their zenith. There you go. There's another one in Super League. You know, they finally arrived in terms of being a competitor. Finished top of the league. They were good last year, but this year they've not been able to capitalize. Now a lot of that's been injuries and suspensions and stuff like that. So I think by the end of the season, and it's him. He's a microcosm.
He's to blame.
He's the microcosm of the bigger picture of he's not had the season he wants. He was frustrated. You could see that frustration in his performance yesterday. And Catalan as a whole haven't had the season they wanted or expected. You could see the frustration in them. And I just feel like it made the sort of the perfect storm for Leeds to go and, you know, cause them problems. You know, I feel like if they'd have had a better season, they wouldn't have been as frustrated. They wouldn't have been as easily pushed down the road where I think Reece said it best. They ended up beating themselves. You know, I mean, Leeds pushed them down that road, but this sort of whirlwind of frustration that they must all feel, especially Tompkins, must be the catalyst for
that. Duncan, what do you think of Sam Tompkins? What did you make of Sam Tompkins? This is now your opportunity to
do you know what, right?
Load your gun.
Yeah. If you'd asked me this question last night, I'd have probably gone on a massive tirade and just.
That's because you were really drunk.
Yeah, and slammed him from every angle. But I actually there was at one point, and I think it might have even been last year, where I actually started thinking, and I can't remember what podcast it's on, but it's Reese's fault. He actually said he's a good. He's a good bloke off the field. Now,
yeah, that was Reece.
A nice bloke, not a good bloke.
But I find I can't sum him up other than he's just an absolute dick, and someone that's just everything he does about the game is petulance.
Well, the half time showed that.
I mean, I put a tweet out last night and I tagged Barry McDermott in it. I would love to see that little rat go up against our 99 team and do some of the stuff he was doing on that field last night.
Yeah, but does he do it? Does Sam Tompkins do it? Does Jake Connor do it? Does McAlone do it in today's game because they can? Do you know what I mean?
I think with Jake Connor, he's a bit grubby and a bit of a maverick. He's got that grubbiness about him, but I don't think he questions he doesn't spend 30 seconds to a minute after every decision that goes against his team
questioning the referee.
And to me, attitude reflects leadership as well. And Ben Garcia is another one who I've said really good player, but he's such a weak captain because he should be getting hold of them and saying, fuck off. Like, no one needs to crowd a referee and say, have you seen this? Have you seen that? The fact that he went down and dived on a rugby league field, he should be banned because that is something that all he's done there is... Now, people can say, oh, well, what about Myler the other week? Well, Myler the other week was conning the referee to get a penalty, which in my eyes is what Sam tried to do. However, it was just a complete...
However, he's a Leeds player, so that's okay. Continue.
But there was the contact with... The contact on Tompkins wouldn't have resulted in what he tried to portray.
Yeah.
He tried to get him sent off for a headbutt, is what he was trying. Now, I'm a bit lost for words with what I saw, and it made it all the better that he'd gone on to Sky Sports because he's the golden boy for Phil Clark. and sat with that other moaning bastard, John Wilkin, and sat there and pulled Leeds to pieces. And it is literally just, it's perfect.
Why is Phil Clark not resigned? Why is Phil Clark not resigned?
Yeah.
That's true.
All that's done is like provide a bit of ammunition for the Leeds team.
Yeah.
Because you can guarantee that, like, Bentley, the master of winding people up, has seen that. And I'd love to have known the verbals that were going on when he was pinning McIlaurin to the floor and stuff like that. Because there's no doubt that he's been winding them all up.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
They just couldn't. He stayed on the right side of the line, whereas obviously the Catalan players just couldn't control themselves.
Agreed. Reese, we have doubted the pink kit previously in France. It seemed that France seemed to be the pink kit's kryptonite, and we did doubt it. We have to admit it, but yesterday the old girl kind of showed us she's still got that magic, you know.
I think she got a bit jealous, to be honest, actually, because
the yellow kit.
Yeah, the blonde. You're right, Cameron. The blonde had come in town, so she's a bit. Yeah. The pinks, the slightly older. You know, have I still got it? The young blondes here, you know. But she proved that she's still number one. She's still our girl, and the magic's still there, Reese.
I've still not bought it, and I won't do it. Doesn't mean I like it anymore. I still like it, but. Yeah, that's made the record in France a bit better. Maybe she just doesn't travel well. Maybe she gets travel sick.
That was it.
Travels when she needs to.
Yeah, she needs
when it matters.
Broaden her horizons and embrace other cultures.
Yeah, she's there when it bloody matters. She might not have been there, but she picks you up when she needs it most. There you are, grabbing your bike collar.
So I think that's 2 out of 4 now in France for the pink.
Yeah.
One more thing is obviously Reese will be back for the grand final. How many goal kicks does he need for the record? Does anyone know?
1 for Super League, 5 to equal the world record, 6 to set a new world record.
Cameron didn't even know we're going to ask that.
Is that a Leeds Rhinos record already?
It will be, I presume, because the Super League record is Mason Lino, and the world records are possessed by Jamie Ellis and Liam Finn.
Isn't he tied with Kev at the minute on 36?
He must be tied with Kev now then.
It's just tied with Kev now at the minute.
Is that what Kev's best was? 36?
36, I believe.
36,
I think so.
So what does he need? He needs...
Or what? Because I know the Super League record was 36. So did Kev already have the Super League record with Mason Lino?
No, I just remember someone telling me Edinley that.
So Mason Lino's record's 36, but Reece Martin's already on 36.
Yeah, so he's already equalled the Super League one, I believe.
Oh, right, so it might not be 36 for Kevin then. So he's already. I think we can. Well, with confidence, despite how we're questioning ourselves for the last 3 minutes, we'll say that Reece Martin's already got the Leeds Rhinos record.
I'm assuming he will do.
And then 1 more to get the Super League record, and then how many for the world record?
6 to set a new one, 5 to equal it.
That's fine. We're going to beat Salford. We're going to beat Salford 50 points to 10 anyway in the final. So
that's pretty easy. I think Martin's ban played a big part in this game as well, because I think the squad and Rowan, us as fans as well, felt a lot of injustice. So I felt that brought, him not being able to play brought the whole squad together in a way. But just in terms of this and kind of wrapping it up, because we need to preview semi-final. Man of the match, Reese? We could all say a different one here and all agree, couldn't we? I
could say about
10. I think there's a couple of names that shout out to me. The first one is Jared O'Connor. And then there's others. Sutty getting a hat-trick is one. I thought Austin was great. I thought Caesar was great. I thought Myler was great. Hardacre.
Smith. Austin, Caesar, Leeming, Donaldson.
But I can't. I don't think I can go past O'Connor. The work rate, the tackling, the shift.
The fact that came onto the podcast, yeah. Continue.
Shift that he just put in general, it has to be O'Connor for me.
Duncan?
Sutcliffe or Bentley. I can't decide between the two.
Bentley, of course.
Go on. Decide. Go on. You can.
Just for what I did with McLaurin and Tompkins, I'd say Bentley.
I knew you were going to go there.
Cameron, man of the match.
I mean, most of the obvious options have been taken. I'll give a shout out to everyone's favourite Zane, because I did think he had a big impact off the bench.
Yeah.
I think everyone did a good job off the bench. Lehman came on, added a bit of speed around the ruck, which was good. Yeah, Donaldson got through a lot of work, and even Sam Walters didn't look out of place. I mean, I think he's just going to develop into a good player. Tyndall, I probably go on.
He was winding up a bit. Was Walters actually when he came?
Yeah,
was it the scrum with Gil Dudson?
Yeah, when they were coming. Yeah, it was.
It was like, that's where I meant to grab. What?
Love it.
Are you giving it to Zane Tetevano, Cam?
I don't know. Well, I've got a.
I'm just about to say, because you're gonna break
Lockpod
history. This is breaking news. This is Lockpod history. If Cameron does,
I don't
feel that way inclined.
It's
Zane Tetevano, man of the match.
It's not an absurd choice. It's not an absurd choice at all.
No, not at all.
I don't think I will. I wanted to give a mention to Tyndall, who I didn't think he had a perfect game, but. You know, he did his job. You know, he didn't get exploited, and I think obviously on the other wing, Tommy did his job.
He was class last night.
He was. He's so underrated at a lot of.
Is there anyone, sorry, that we haven't mentioned? I feel like at this point,
I'm trying to get everyone to mention here. To be fair,
Gannon. I don't think we mentioned him.
He got KO'd in the most beautiful way. I mean, the commitment he showed there to throwing himself at Cassiano.
Exactly that. Gannon's still got to remember this. Gannon is 18.
Yeah, he is.
And he threw himself at the biggest, hardest running man on that pitch.
Yeah, I have total respect for that.
With
Tetevano tackled him at the same time, you know, were throwing himself at him as well. Both of them, you know, I think obviously Gannon sadly got, had to go off. But the commitment, that just to me showed what we were all about in that game. Obviously, Liam Sutcliffe scored. I mean, 2 of his tries I thought were lovely, and obviously one were a bit of a lucky one because it bounced off a Catalan player. But that first one, when he makes that break, it's a lovely pass from Cam Smith and a nice one too. But my man of the match is actually going to be Rowan Smith. I've got.
Oh, did you see that? It sounds just like bloody Rowan, doesn't it? I can't single out any player. It's Rowan. It's Rowan.
But
I was just clinging on there, thinking, "Oh my God, this could be the only opportunity that Zane gets man of the match." And
this season,
no, he's going to get the Harry Sunderland Award.
Oh, right, the big one. Of course, he is the big one in the final. Yeah, my man of the match. I agree with Reese, Jared O'Connor, just because he came on the podcast, really. So that's the biggest criteria that any player that if you want us to not slag you off, just come on the pod. You know.
I tell you what, though, in terms of handing out positives, one thing I did want to say, Caesar and Austin, that was their best performance in sync together. They played off each other really well last night. Caesar, I felt, controlled the game, and Austin was just what we wanted him to do, provide a strong running game. And put up some really decent high balls as well.
Both of them kicked really well, didn't they?
Yeah.
Caesar's kicking game was absolutely outstanding.
Everything
it's like this is now the combo. If someone were to go back, I won't. But if someone were to go back and listen to the first pod or a preview when it was announced that we'd signed both of them, the way that we speak about them, everyone that came on. I feel like this combination we saw yesterday is what we were expecting. It's just slowly grown into
keeping everyone, lulling everyone into a false sense of security. This was the plan.
That's right.
The match review panel have done us a favour as well because they've kept all our forwards fresh for the end of the year.
Yeah, I must admit, I'm very happy for Aidan Caesar because I've got nothing, especially against Huddersfield. But like a lot of their fans were sort of taking mick out of him, going, "Oh, you left to Leeds and it's going terribly for you." And now he's
probably say they're 2 fans.
and he's ended up going further in the playoffs than them. So I think almost all our signings need a special pat on the back because obviously it didn't start off well, and as the new kids on the block, it was very easy to especially the two halfbacks, because they're such an important position. It was very easy to go, this is your fault. Especially when Caesar had that long injury, it was very easy to go, he was the problem. So I think all four, as well, Bentley and Fussatua, they need a special sort of pat on the back and go, stuck in there. And actually, we're getting to the business end of the year. 3 of them are playing, and they're playing a big part. And obviously, Fussatua, when he has played, has been an important asset to the team. And it would be good if we could have him back. So
into Wigan away, it's now confirmed on Friday.
Very much like 2012, isn't it?
Again, yep, it's happening again. Cameron kind of spoke on Fussatua there. I don't know if he's going to be close to returning, or Hanley or Newman.
Well, let's go to our resident injury analyst. Duncan, have you heard anything from the team?
Oh, yeah. He's our Dennis Pennis, isn't he? He's there at the front with the microphone. These two won't have got that, but you did, Duncan. Thank you.
That's all right, mate. I'm always here for you.
Any injury news, Duncan?
No, just what I said last week. I mean, Fussy, I think it's mental with him. I really do. I think he's a bit. We need whatever team we put out next week. We just need to go there and match them in the pack
and win.
Their pack's average. If they're missing Farrell, they're a bit ploddy, aren't they? Apart from Bateman, so just stick Bentley on him, and then yeah.
I mean, I'm dead scared of Monday. I'm petrified of Monday. Yeah. I just don't want us to lose one or two.
They'll ban another player. Absolutely.
I have a feeling Bentley might get one.
I think Bentley will get one.
Will do, because he's wound up the golden boy, hasn't he?
Yeah, he did like a falling elbow or something.
Sam will have been there teabagging Cullen all weekend, trying to get him bloody saying what how wound up he was with Bentley, and he'll get a one gamer.
I was saying this earlier today. It's totally wrong. As a Leeds fan, I should be dead excited for the weekend and the semi-final. But since we won, most of my headspace has been consumed by dread at the thought of, we could lose 1 or 2 players to a ban. And then suddenly, if we do lose the 2 players to a ban, and Oledsky's hurt, and Gannon obviously can't play.
Oh, Gannon as well, yeah.
We're down to the bare bones then, and
Oledsky will play.
I think he will, but the point is, I was lying in bed last night going, all right, what is the worst case scenario? Oledsky out, these players suspended, Gannon, HIA, and I also said to myself, all right, I won't even put Newman in it. I'll say, and it was like a scary team to be going into a semi-final with, and it's not slight on the players that were in this hypothetical. It was not a well balanced team. Let's just put it that way.
In terms of Harry Newman, Cameron, and he wasn't named in the squad for Catalans. Obviously, he didn't play. I don't think he went. But if Harry is 60, 70% fit, do you think this is the type of game we should throw him into, or do you think we should kind of look at more the long-term picture, especially with him having a World Cup and things on the horizon?
I couldn't give 2 hopes about World Cup if he's fit for Leeds.
Is the correct answer.
But I don't think a 70% Newman. I mean, he's obviously at 60-70% of Harry Newman would still be very good, but
still be best centre on
field. Yeah, I just don't.
I agree.
You don't want to be playing a player who then might make you down to 16 men very early on. But I caveat that with saying, if you are, low on numbers because they've, decimated us again with the disciplinary, then a Harry Newman off the bench, if he's 60-70% fit, I won't be adverse to that. If he's 80% fit, he starts for me. That's where be the cutoff point. If he's basically there, if he's 80% fit, just play him. Because
that back line we had one starter in that back line.
Yeah, I know. In terms of squad.
So if Newman is 70% fit, you put him in, you push Hardacre out to wing it, and you take Tendall out.
That's what I would, what I'd be looking to do if he's fit. And don't forget, we're going to be scared of Harry because he was.
I'm scared of Harry.
He was immense at Headingley. He gave Field and no one's done that to Field and French all season. The kind of performance that he did to just constantly torment both of them. It was brilliant. So, they will be scared. If Harry Newman's name's on the team sheet, they will think twice about how are we going to, even if he's come back from injury, they'll think, how on earth are we going to outfox him?
So we all agree that Harry Newman, at 60% fit, would be the best player on the field on Friday. Does everyone agree with that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So how low in percent of Harry Newman fitness do we have to go for him not to be the best player on the field? Duncan, how low in fitness do you think he'd have to get to?
Not be on it.
For someone to get to his level?
Not be on the field.
Not be there. So Harry Newman with one leg.
Honestly, did you see that program that John Wells did before the Catalan game with the detail on Harry Newman?
Oh, such a good show.
Yeah, amazing, yeah.
Like, no one comes near him. No one's near him. As a centre in England, no one is anywhere near him.
I think he's the best player in the league, when he's played.
It's very much an argument that you could.
He would if he went to, if he had. He's very much like what Watkins was when he came through.
Yeah,
he just needs that year to stay fit. He'll be frightening.
Yeah, frightening. I mean, Watkins eventually had that because he had a similar situation where he
did, didn't he?
But once he it was about 2012, wasn't it? The first year.
2012 again.
I know.
It's a sign.
So
it's happening.
I'm just looking at Andrew's spreadsheet actually of Andrew being LUFC stats because Andrew has created a list of the result of every fixture since 1996. So I'm looking at it all now. Obviously, we beat Wigan at Wigan 2 years ago. No, last year.
Last year
we beat them 8-0. I'm just looking at the playoffs at the moment. Obviously, beat them in Grand Final in 2015. We beat them in the Super 8s in 2017. We beat them in the Super 8s in 2015. Lost in the semi-final in 2013, but beat them in the semi-final at Wigan in 2012. There's a bit of history in this game.
Yeah, a lot of semi-finals.
2010, 2010, we beat them at the DW.
7 and 8.
7 and 8, we beat those Headingley. They were at Headingley, but we beat them. It's a big history in this fixture.
It's probably the go-to playoff fixture when I think of not so much a grand final, but like the game to get to a grand final.
To get to one, yeah, I agree with that.
Wigan is the team that comes to your head, I think.
We won't be playing in the pink kit for this one. The Power.
I'm assuming we'll be blue and amber.
Yeah, it'd be blue and amber.
We'll be in the home shirt. I was kind of thinking, would the pink kit might have pulled us a couple more scores ahead if we could have worn that. In terms of fussy tour, because I think it was Cameron Duncan who said earlier about the team that played in Catalan. You'd kind of keep, because they played so well, you'd keep as much as that side together for this one as you could. Obviously, I think the only player Newman might be back and Fussy too. I don't think Hanley's going to make it.
No, Hanley'd be final.
And I don't think we're expecting anyone else back. So in terms of Newman, I think Newman, we all agree, if he's at some kind of decent fitness, has to play. But Fussy Tour, Dunk, you kind of mentioned you think it's mental within in terms of his form. Do you think if he is fit, would you play him? Because I know that you've got your doubts about Liam Tyndall.
If he's fit, he's got to play.
Yeah.
I don't think Tyndall will play.
I think Ardeka goes on the wing if Newman plays.
One of Newman or Fusatu'a will be there.
Yeah.
What do you do if both Newman and Fusatu'a are there? Do you drop Briscoe? I think you probably do. I've not said that. I've got a lot of respect for Tommy, but I just think it's very, both of them are good at that end of the field, bringing the ball away. But when it comes to scoring tries,
it's key.
Tommy's
I
lost
think
a little bit, and I think Fusatua still has it.
Yeah,
I think
definitely.
you could almost. The thing is with Jared O'Connor, it gives you. He's got the utility, so he'll be there on the bench. Now he can play 9 and 13. You could almost have a case where, look, he's playing really well, but you could put Myler there, Hardaker at fullback, Fussy and Briscoe on the wings, Newman and Sutty in the centre, and use Myler as like your impact sub. Is another way that it could go, but whatever way Rowan Smith chooses, I'm fully
Rowan's in the
supportive of
know, isn't he? He'll know what.
Rowan's in the know, and he's the guy. Of course, he is. He's the man we all trust. Reese, you feel similar? Fussy to his fit. He has to come in.
I think so. I think Tommy's has. Sorry, I just hear banging outside the window.
Knocking on your window, which is quite worrying, because isn't that a bedroom?
It's an upstairs. I think someone's letting
It's
off
a vampire.
fireworks.
Let me in, Mike. Matt, is it Michael or Martin?
I
Let me
think
in.
someone's letting off fireworks, but they're out 2 months early. Fussy. I think Briscoe in defence has been really good recently, but he hasn't offered much in attack, and I also don't think his carrying ability from the back is strong as Fussy. I think Fussy's weaker in defence than Briscoe. But Fussy's stronger points are, I think what we really missed a bit in the game on Friday was our ability to carry out from the returning the kicks.
Well, that's why I was worried without handling Fusatua. I was like, we could get stranded in our own 30.
And that'd be my thought process behind Hardaker instead of Myler at the back as well, because I think Wigan with Harry Smith are very much. It'll be a kicking game. I think Hardaker at the back defensively is the best fullback in the league. And I think when you've got Field and French on the other side, that's where you look to. You're going to need to be really, really on it defensively for 80 minutes. Do you think if we slip off for 10 or 15, they could put 2 scores on us?
Do you think Field and French, is there anyone else in that Wigan side, Duncan, that you think we should be really fearful of?
No.
It's just those two, which in the home game, Cameron, which you touched on earlier there, when we battered them, we did a job on both Field and French, turning them round, not getting them, making them do a lot of work. Do you think Rowan will kind of fit to that game plan again and say, we know what to do here because we battered them last time we played them?
I think there's going to have to be a touch of nuance to it because we're probably going to try and do things a little bit different to the game at Headingley. I've seen a lot of Wigan fans already. I mean, it was even before we won the other day. It was about Newman, actually, because, obviously with the talk of him being fit, they were sort of going, right, we've got to be different this time. We can't play into Harry Newman's hands. So I'm expecting Wigan to try and throw something not massively different, but I think they'll have a slightly different approach to the one they had at Headingley. However, I think the basic principles still stand. I think Liam Marshall obviously scores a lot of tries on the other wing, but he's not the same bracket of player as Field and French because they can create. Marshall's a good winger. I'm not saying he's not, but he's very much a finisher. Whereas French and Field can both finish, but they cannot create. So they are the two
from nothing.
Players. It's interesting. They're what I've Cade Cust as well, which he's sort of been an important player under the radar for Wigan in that he's sort of the through man. He's like the connective glue alongside Harry Smith. But I think especially Cust to Field and French, he's like the guy who gets it and gives them that platform. So I'm not saying that makes us favourites or anything, but it's just something worthwhile. It's one less player for Leeds to worry about.
Reese, do you think, other than Field and French, is there anything else Leeds need to particularly be scared of from that Wigan side?
I think the only thing not necessarily to be scared of, but to take into account would have been Liam Farrell's leadership. And his ability to score a try. And his ability to score a try. He is the Carl Ablett equivalent.
Equivalent, yeah. That's all right. Yeah, past. Yeah, continue.
So I think he would have been something they would have to contain or work with or have a plan for. But I think Wigan have got much more players to worry about than we do. And if we can nullify that effect of Jai Field and Bevan French, then the games are still win. The games are still lose. In fact, if you nullify those, it's our game to lose.
I think what I like about this Leeds team is
everything.
Well, yeah, everything. Well, that's basically the point I was going to make. Is Reece touched on it there. There's ways of us opening teams up all over the park, whether it's Jared O'Connor receiving an offload as a 9 and running at an unset defence because he's got the strength of a loose forward to tear him through, or it's Cam Smith a little short ball to another forward poking his nose through, Richie Myler, Aidan Caesar, or Blake Austin with dummies, centres coming back on the inside, bouncing off tackles and opening up teams, or even going on the edge with a set play. There's a lot of different ways now where Leeds can have joy. So we scored a lot of unique and different tries when we played them at Headingley. So we need that kind of that again, basically.
Same thing.
I think you just got to look at what since Rowan's come in with a form side in the league. So us fearing anyone, no.
Are we?
Yeah, pretty much. 12 wins from 17.
Salford?
Well, us and Salford. But in the last 15 rounds
Salford
of the
have
league,
gone anyway because we've not got Brodie Croft next week.
Yeah,
so.
We'll see you in the bloody grand final, Salford.
No, they won't.
I don't think we will now.
Don't you?
But without Croft, I'm not saying they're a different team, but they are still a strong team, but they're nowhere near as strong as Brodie Croft.
No, Saints have gone. Saints have gone. I was saying to Duncan at Cass, Saints have gone. Nothing to fear here. They've gone. They won't even make a grand final. I think I said it on air actually that they won't make a grand final. Anyway, predictions for this one to kind of wrap up this match review panel for Wigan for the semi-final on Friday. Do you want me to go first? Does anyone want to go first?
I don't want to go.
22-12 Leeds.
There we go, Duncan.
22-12.
22-12, Duncan.
Yeah.
16-10 Leeds.
Cameron?
Why are you doing this to me? I don't like predicting that we're going to win, but I feel like I need to.
It'll help with future guest appearances.
I'm just going to say, for pure nostalgic effect, Leeds 13, Wigan 12.
12, yeah.
Exactly the same scoreline as a decade ago.
Again, and then it's just a repeat of 2020.
Before you give your prediction and before we finish today, we do need to do a shout out, and a very big shout out to the PDRL team.
Oh yeah, grand final winners
who won their championship today with
You
golden
are
point
absolutely right. Yes.
against Wakefield. So massive congratulations to that team.
Unbelievable.
Good to win golden point. But what it does mean from a Rhinos family perspective,
Just listen to this.
we've got the first team, the men's team, in the semi-finals, 80 minutes on the grand final. The women in the grand final next weekend. Make sure you look at your tickets, see if you can get over there, or at least watch it on TV, give them support. The academy side are in the grand final. The PDRL team were crowned champions today. The wheelchair team have won the Challenge Cup, our league leaders shield, and are also one game for the grand final.
That's seven different finals winners, semi-finals there across, and people still have the fucking gall to say something about Leeds Rhinos. How can anyone say that we are not the biggest club in the world?
There is no
other answer. It's impossible.
From the immense of pride in the inclusivity of everything that's in that.
Everything across the whole board.
Leading from the front in every manner of community, rugby, sport, inclusivity, whatever you want to call it. It's just brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
All we're saying is we're just the best at everything. So no, that was brilliant. That it was amazing to see that come through, and just so proud because again, it It's just another Leeds Rhinos. It's another they're wearing the shirt. It's just even the netball side. I think their season's
they're about to kick off, aren't they? I think
about to kick off, so they're coming up. They're gonna win it as well. In terms of our game at Wigan, I'm gonna say Leeds by 22. I think we'll.
That'll be nice and relaxing. Defensive win. Yeah, they won't have to stress.
Yeah, it'll be easy, nice, similar to the home game a couple of months back.
I hope so.
Yeah, but everyone can just relax, chill out. If you go in there, just find a nice seat and sit down, have a pie, have a pint, and have nothing to worry about. Absolutely nothing to worry about. Just to remind people before we do get off, the fanzine is available. I think there's now 8 copies left as we record this live. So if you're listening to this on Spotify or watching it back on YouTube, it probably has sold out, to be honest. We will be doing a second issue. We don't know when that is. Obviously won't be this year, but probably a preview or for the upcoming season. We only did 50 issues of this because we just felt that was a good number to do. We weren't short on demand and things, but obviously people do what. So the next issue will print more, so they're more available, so people can buy them, and we'll sell them outside Headingley. Obviously, we were going to sell this at the fan event, but that fell through. So the second issue will be available at Headingley. You'll see my big bald head kind of saying, "Come and buy this off me." Thanks to everyone that's bought it. Thanks to Cameron and Mark and Laurie and Stephen and everyone else who contributed to it. It's amazing. Thanks to AC DMB for designing it because it is amazing. Thanks to Reese, Cameron, and Duncan for coming on to review this one. Is anyone going over for Wigan?
Yeah.
Heading over. Yeah.
It's the Friday, isn't it? I'm looking after my niece, so I'm probably not going to be able to make it.
Reese won't make it. You can. That's still babysitting. Yeah.
I could bring her along. I mean, I'm not sure it's really fair on a 5-year-old to take a 5-year-old to Wigan. I mean,
I've got a 5-year-old.
It's educational. It's one for future learnings.
I've got a 5-year-old, as you know, Reese. I would not take them to Wigan. No way. Just in general, I just wouldn't take them to Wigan because it's a disgusting town. I don't know. I'm a bit 50-50 whether I'm going or not. I don't know. But
get yourself over.
Oh no, but simply because Lottie's superstitious now. I am now because his Watts does win on Friday night, and he's done a routine. He's gone to this pub. I know for a fact he will do exactly the same routine, especially because it's on a Friday as well. Yeah. And it'll be 8:00 kickoff. It'll be exactly the same time. He'll have to do exactly what he did.
I am a bit of a stickler.
Yesterday.
I really am.
If that's gonna get us to win, you do. You do the routine. If it's gonna tick the box,
that's it, Cameron. We're gonna win, but if I go to Wigan and I'm stood there and I'm like, it's me. I knew it. I knew it. I should have gone back to the pub and done the same routine. And everybody be looking at me saying, it's fucking it's him. Why did you come? We all told you to go to the pub. So, yeah, I'm going to have to go to the pub, aren't I? Yeah. I'm not going, Duncan. Right, gentlemen. Thanks a lot for coming on to record, as always. Thanks, everybody, for listening. The next podcast is the mailbag, which we are going to add a little bit of playoff and rugby league talk into the start of there. And that'll be coming up sometime this weekend. See you soon.
Thanks so much.